This is Duncan Levy, and today, instead of talking on wrestling, I'm going to talk about something exceptional that happened. This video is me making an exception because it grinds my gears a little bit. Novak Djokovic was just disqualified yesterday from the US Open 2020 for accidentally striking a lineswoman on the throat, after which he collapsed, and it was decided by US Open officials to send him home, which means he'll be stripped of all ranking points that emanated from this tournament, and he will not be properly competing for his 18th Grand Slam and be sent home prematurely. Is it justified to have him sent? Can they do it justifiably? Yes, because apparently there's a clause in the rulebook of the US Open which validates this decision. Should it have been made? Should it have been made within minutes of the incident taking place? No. My gripes are not with that it happened, my gripes are with how it happened. I like to preface anything I say by simply saying that I'm in no way a tennis insider. I'm not fully in the know of regarding all matters tennis and all the considerations that need to be taken into account before making a decision like this. But I'm going to tell you how it seems to me. Players accidentally hit ball boys, ball girls, lineswomen, linesmen all the time. Even the umpire has been hit multiple times, and this does not happen. Of course, this looked much worse than your usual or common incident of player hitting some official on some court person on anywhere, because the woman just fell down and she was hit on the throat, so it appeared really horrifying. But why immediately make such a decision? Even from a practical perspective, the player who is best player in the world, most people are probably tuning in to see him play, and you just simply send him packing. You don't give your decision the requisite amount of time. You don't take into consideration all that is being said by the various authority figures on tennis or legendary players who've maybe gone through something similar or would like to give their 2 cents on the matter, or even other deciding bodies. Maybe the US Open itself, they would have made a different decision if they just simply took the time to think about it. Pause the match, come back tomorrow if you think the match deserves to go on, or if you think that there's malice or just some ruling that cannot be escaped that warrants Djokovic to be actually sent home. Do it, but take the time to make the decision. It's the first Grand Slam in the pandemic era. Sports have restarted. We are fortunate as sports fans all over the world to be watching this Grand Slam take place. There's a man who is in pursuit of history. He's pursuing Federer's record of most number of weeks spent at world number 1. That will be delayed because his ranking points are stripped altogether. Not just that, you are sending him packing prematurely. He's not lost. He's been disqualified because of an accident. He's also in a position where he happens to be chasing the all-time Grand Slam record currently held by Roger Federer. He was vying for an 18th Grand Slam. Djokovic was. Djokovic, is on a 28-match win streak in 2020. And this is the reason why he's sent back home. The US Open just has a curse attached to it. There's always some controversy going on. It's also very interesting, but it's also very controversial. A lot of people would probably sympathize with me when I say that it is the most annoying Grand Slam. I, for one, did not used to think that the US Open was the least prestigious Grand Slam tournament of all time, or of the 4 that we have. But it's looking that way. Because no matter what, there's always some sort of controversy attached to it. There are lots of questions, lots of decisions are completely dismantled in public opinion. In this case, if this is dismantled, I'd say rightfully so. Because it's an accident. If you look at it from all angles, multiple times, Djokovic had no intention of hitting that woman at all. So, anyway, it doesn't make any sense to me. At least the fact that they made the decision like that. Anyway, lots of other perspectives to be taken into consideration. A lot of other narratives that are suddenly activated. Who is going to be the one to win this tournament? Is it going to be Zverev? Is it going to be Dominic Thiem? Is it going to be Medvedev? Is it going to be Shapovalov? Is it going to be Felix Auger-Aliassime? Because he beat Murray, and there is a match between Thiem and Auger-Aliassime today. So all these things are very interesting. Who is going to take this, not a slam dunk, but a huge opportunity? Because the top 3 players in the world are not playing. Not by rankings, obviously, but the top 3, the big 3, are not in this tournament. Nadal is going to be licking his chops until the French Open, where he will have the chance to vie for a record 20th Grand Slam, equaling the great Roger Federer. Or is it going to be Novak Djokovic, who is now going to make up for lost time and a lost opportunity at the US Open? All these narratives are really interesting. From a very Federer fanboy perspective, you can also apply philosophical logic to this entire thing and say, oh, Novak Djokovic, karma comes back around, You beat Roger Federer after Federer had match point, and this is what happens. This is what happens. By fluke, by hook or by crook, you somehow hit a woman in the throat, and she falls down like she's dead, and then you get disqualified and get screwed out of a Grand Slam tournament. So, this is why sports are so engaging, because you got such vocal support for the important entities in any sport. It's amazing. Nadal is probably... I think he would be the first to admit that from a practical perspective, this is good for him and for Roger Federer, because they have less to sweat about. Of course, I believe they're both very classy gentlemen, and it would not be the end of the world for them to have someone creep up on their records of most Grand Slams held. But I'm not sure if they're completely detached from this pursuit of history, because a lot of credence is put on this Grand Slam tally in the most number of weeks to world number 1. All these records that have gained importance because of the amount of conversation that is invested in them. But anyway, it's good for tennis, because now you have the chance for someone else to win a Grand Slam. And now it's almost guaranteed. It's not almost guaranteed, sorry. It is definitely guaranteed we're going to have a new Grand Slam champion, because I'm not sure if we have a Grand Slam champion contesting in this tournament. I don't think so. Stan Wawrinka is not playing. Juan Martín del Potro is not there. Andy Murray got defeated by Auger-Aliassime. So yes, sure, there's no current ex-Grand Slam champion active in the tournament. So this is going to be very interesting to follow from that perspective. And so is going to be the fallout from this. How does Djokovic react? Of course, I'm 100% sure that he's not just disappointed, even though, of course, he's disappointed with the reason for his exit. Okay, so I just remembered something. On Twitter, there's a clip has resurfaced from 2016 where this journalist is asking Djokovic a question regarding an incident that took place in that match in 2016 where Djokovic almost hit a ball boy or a ball girl, I'm not sure. And then the question from the journalist was, do you take responsibility, and should you be more attentive to these matters and try to be less complacent on court? And Djokovic laughed it off almost. He was not ridiculing the premise of the question. He was just saying, you got to be kidding me, really? And that was the end of it, because everyone had that attitude toward that answer. It's just funny to me that now that, very unfortunately, he's hit somebody, this becomes a part of a so-called running narrative where Djokovic is complacent on court. No, it's hindsight is 20/20. You can't just apply your logic where it fits and then justify that outcome. So it's just really unfortunate. I am really glad that woman is okay, the lineswoman who got hit. And Djokovic was very concerned about that as well, and he has demonstrated the same concern in his apology after the fact. Do I realize why this was done? No. Do I believe that they should have taken a lot more time to consider their decision? Maybe pause the match instead of canceling it? Absolutely. Is it another stain on the US Open's legacy for controversial, borderline nonsensical, absolute comedy being attached to it. Yes. The U.S. Open is going to be entertaining no matter what, which is why it will always be a tournament that I really look forward to. But it's just... oh. I'm just going to watch the rest of the matches. The second week is going to be enthralling with all these younger... They're not even... All of them are not young. They're rather mature in tennis terms. So all these other next-gen tennis players, it'll be an opportunity for them to rise up, be a Grand Slam holder. So that is the narrative that is going to be associated with this tournament the most. And this tournament still has enough star power, enough high-ranked players to not ever deserve an asterisk next to it in the annals of history. So that is why I'm going to watch, and I hope that nothing like this happens. I don't want another... See, given how all of these things are happening, I'm not putting it past fate to somehow have Serena Williams have an argument with a linesman, with the umpire, and being disqualified as well, because that is this year. Not just this year, that is her presence in the U.S. Open, and that is the image of the U.S. Open that I carry with me now. What is going on? But these are good for the sport as well, because you also have these discussions that, again, creep up that, Federer gets favorable treatment, and other players don't, because I think there's an article somewhere floating around that, Federer hit a ball boy too, and it was taken in jest, and it was laughed off. Yes, the ball boy did not fall down, and he was not hit in the throat. The ball boy was smiling, and the commentator said the ball boy could go back home and make it like a notch in his belt. That, oh my God, you know what happened to me today? I got hit somewhere by the greatest tennis player of all time, or something like that. So it's amazing how much weight journalists put on these incidents and try to justify it or create controversy by comparison, because that is sports journalism these days. Anyway, I just felt like I needed to rant on this. Of course, I'm not aware of every single angle of the story, but it just seems like a disservice, a disgraceful disservice to all fans everywhere. No one wants to see this happen. People who hate Djokovic would love for someone to beat him fair and square, not for him to get disqualified. Of course, other than some complete monsters who would say, yeah, Djokovic, he's doping and he deserves to be sent home in the first week. He spread corona. Of course, that was an ill-advised tournament decision from him. But anyway, he deserves this in every way. No, you can't just say that. You can't just say that because it's not researched and you're applying personal biases. But that is what makes tennis interesting. And I hope that this is not the reason why I tune in for a video about tennis. Maybe I'll just branch all the activities into Lee Avion Sports or something. That's also something I'm considering. But the focus of this channel will continue to be professional wrestling, but let's see how well these things do. Till next time, this is Duncan Lee Avi. Thanks for watching.